tonight I want to thank all of you here and tell the rest of this country that just as Wisconsin has been a leader in the past, we're proud here on April 5th to be a leader again, showing a turning point in this election. This victory is bigger than just Wisconsin. This is the night when we can look back and say that was the time that turned the tide of this election to bring Ted Cruz home to be the nominee of this party, to unite this party, and to win the election against Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm Wisconsin welcome to the next President of the United States, Ted Cruz.
Well, if you ask me where I come from, here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's dear grace in an extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. It's a big old land with countless dreams. Happiness ain't out of reach.
God bless the great state of Wisconsin. What an incredible victory tonight. And thank you to your tremendous governor, Governor Scott Walker, for his principled, passionate leadership. Tonight is a turning point. It is a rallying cry. It is a call from the hardworking men and women of Wisconsin to the people of America. We have a choice, a real choice. The national political terrain began to change 2 weeks ago. In the state of Utah, we won 69% of the vote, a landslide election. Winning every single delegate in the state. Then, just 3 days ago in Colorado, 2 congressional districts voted. Once again, they elected 6 delegates, and of those 6 delegates, we won all 6. And then 2 days ago in North Dakota, we had another tremendous win. They elected their delegates. Of the delegates who have specified their support, 18 are supporting our campaign. 1 is supporting Donald Trump. 18 to 1, I'll take that ratio any day of the week. And now tonight, here in Wisconsin, a state that just 3 weeks ago the media had written off. Of 3 weeks ago, the media said Wisconsin was a perfect state for Donald Trump. But the hard-working men and women of Wisconsin stood and campaigned tirelessly to make sure that tonight was a victory for every American. Four very different states: Utah, Colorado, North Dakota, Wisconsin. 4 victories. So just how significant is tonight? Well, just today, our campaign has raised over $2 million. People all over the country going to tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org. Contributing $10 or $25 or $50. We've had over 1.3 million contributions. In the last 2 weeks, and in the coming days when Colorado and Wyoming finish voting, we are likely to have gained over 100 delegates on Donald Trump. And as a result of tonight, as a result of the people of Wisconsin defying the media, defying the pundits, I am more and more convinced that our campaign is going to earn the 1,237 delegates needed to win the Republican nomination. Either before Cleveland or at the convention in Cleveland, together we will win a majority of the delegates, and together we will beat Hillary Clinton in November. Tonight was a bad night for Hillary Clinton. It was a bad night in the Democratic primary, and it was an even worse night for her in the Republican primary. We are winning because we're uniting the Republican Party. Of the 17 candidates who started this race, a terrific, talented, dynamic field, 5 have now endorsed this campaign. Rick Perry and Lindsey Graham and Jeb Bush and Carly Fiorina and Wisconsin's own Governor Scott Walker. When you toss in Senator Mike Lee and Mark Levin, we've got the full spectrum of the Republican Party coming together and uniting behind this campaign. In 1960, accepting the Democratic Party's nomination, John F. Kennedy observed, "I think the American people expect more from us than cries of indignation and attack. The times are too grave, the challenge too urgent, and the stakes too high to permit the customary passions of political debate. We are not here to curse the darkness, but to light the candle that can guide us to see through that darkness to a safe and sane future." As Winston Churchill said on taking office, if we open a quarrel between the present and the past, we shall be in danger of losing the future. The same is true today. Tonight, Wisconsin has lit a candle guiding the way forward. Tonight, we once again have hope for the future. Tonight is about unity, and tonight is about hope. Young people in America once again have hope that we will bring jobs back to America. By repealing Obamacare, passing it reining in the federal regulators that are killing small businesses, passing a flat tax, and abolishing the IRS. We will unleash incredible economic growth. Our border will finally be made secure, and sanctuary cities will end. Truck drivers and mechanics and plumbers and steel workers, union members, men and women with calluses on their hands, will once again see wages rising, opportunity expanding. Working moms. Working moms struggling to make ends meet will see take-home pay rising, the cost of living falling, and Common Core ending. Catholic schools and Jewish day schools, Brigham Young and the Little Sisters of the Poor will see a Supreme Court that protects their religious liberty. The fundamental freedom of every one of us to live according to our faith and our conscience. We'll see a Supreme Court that protects the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And our fundamental right to protect our families and our homes and our children. We'll see a president who stands with Israel. Clearly and unapologetically. Instead of negotiating with terrorists, we'll rip to shreds this catastrophic Iranian nuclear deal. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism, and we will utterly destroy ISIS. We will have a president who keeps us safe. To the soldiers and sailors, the airmen and Marines, to the police officers and firefighters and first responders who risk their lives every day to keep us safe, we will have a commander-in-chief who has your back. Jobs, freedom, and security. That's what this next election is all about. In 1980, Milton and Rose Friedman wrote Free to Choose. They explained that the American free enterprise system has been the greatest engine for opportunity and prosperity that the world has ever seen. Too much government can stifle opportunity. But if we get Washington out of the way, then there is no limit to what we can accomplish. It's what allowed my dad to escape Cuba and come to America with nothing, washing dishes, making 50 cents a day, to start a business and today to be a pastor traveling the country. It's what allowed my Irish-Italian mom to become the first in her family to go to college to smash glass ceilings by becoming a pioneering computer programmer. It's what allowed my wife Heidi I may be biased, but isn't she going to make an amazing First Lady?
We love you, Wisconsin!
She's the child of missionaries, my best friend in the world, and she's become a successful business leader, a loving mom, and every day she's teaching our daughters, Caroline and Catherine, that strong women can accomplish anything in the United States of America. That's America. It's what we're fighting for. Our children, our future. And Wisconsin has made clear, we are free to choose. For centuries, America has been a shining city on a hill, a beacon of liberty to the world, and we can and will be once again. So I ask you at home to join us as we continue to unite Republicans and independents and libertarians and Reagan Democrats and Americans who care about our future, who want jobs, freedom, and security, just as we've done in Wisconsin, we're doing all across this country. And Governor, let me tell you, I look forward to coming back to the state of Wisconsin this fall. And in November, for the first time since 1984, painting the Badger State bright Republican red. So let me just say, Hillary, get ready, here we come. God bless you.
Sun coming up over
that Bernie Sanders rally, I'm sure, as you know, a lot of the mainstream media outlets, the bigger cable news outlets, took that speech. So I'm assuming that Bernie Sanders people saw that and said, "Hey, let's wait a little bit," because they'd like, obviously, the same kind of exposure, on air exposure. So I'm assuming Bernie Sanders and co are waiting for Cruz to wrap up. So we'll hear from Bernie Sanders shortly. I cover, if you're not familiar with Fox 10 News Now, we are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. breaking news. We've got satellites that take us all across the country, and we take you to breaking scenes throughout the United States of America and breaking news throughout the USA. And one thing that I've noticed is we carry all of these candidates' speeches in long form. So if you want to watch us while you're at work, you have a constant stream of news, and you hear some of these speeches over and over and over again. So I almost wish that they'd shake it up for these kind of speeches, because when you hear something 30 times, it's less sincere. But let's see what Bernie Sanders has to say. Maybe he'll have some original content that will light a fire.
Good evening, Wyoming. It is my pleasure to introduce former Agricultural Commissioner of the state of Texas, Jim Hightower.
Hello, Wyoming. Hello, revolutionaries. Wow, what a fabulous event this is. What a fabulous presidential campaign this is. What a fabulous opportunity it is. Just makes me happier than a flea at a dog show to be standing up here looking out at all of you Bernieistas as we take power back to the American people at the grassroots level. And what better place to come talk about the inequality state of America than the equality state of Wyoming. The problem in this country is the powers that be. Too few people, and I'm talking about a handful of billionaires and corporate executives, they control too much of the money and power in our country. And they're using that control to take more from you and me for them. Now, you know, economists have a technical term for this: stealing. Woody Guthrie had that great song, "As I travel through this world, I see lots of funny men. Some will rob you with a 6-gun and some with a fountain pen." It's the fountain pens. The fountain pens are doing the serious stealing in our society today. It's a big time for America, a big time for presidential politics, a big time for we the people, a big time for democracy itself. I come to you not just from Austin, Texas, but from South Austin. We got a little different attitude south of the river. We're a little more irreverent. Our unofficial slogan over there is, "We're all here because we're not all there." Well, I think we're all here tonight because we know that the powers that be on Wall Street and in Washington and the corporate suites, they're not at all there in comprehending what America is all about. Those powers that be, they're as confused as goats on AstroTurf when it comes to understanding that in America, we're supposed to be all in this together. But they want to separate themselves. And by the powers that be, I'm talking about the downsizers and privatizers. I'm talking about the Walmart wage whackers and the big oil frackers. I'm talking about the bosses, the bankers, the big shots, the bastards, and the bullshitters who think that they can run roughshod over us. They might think that they're the top dogs and we're just a bunch of fire hydrants out here in the countryside. But look at what's happening in Wyoming here tonight. We're going to send them a message. You know, inequality doesn't just happen, it's planned. It's decided by corporate executives sitting in comfortable executive suites. It's decided by their lobbyists and by their Congress critters whom they have bought. They have made decisions. They put out a whole array of forces against us to steal our rights. Their campaign dollars, their lobbyists, their Fox News, their union busters, offshoring, their front groups, their governors and their legislatures like yours and mine, their courts. You know, they say that in sex, I don't know a lot about this, but they were explaining it to me backstage. They say that in sex, using a feather can be erotic. But using the whole chicken, that's just nasty. They're using the whole chicken. That's why we have to have a big politics to create big change in this country for the people. And we're not going to get that from the Republican freak show that they're running over there in their primaries. I hear Donnie Trump, and I hear Ted Cruz. I hear this gaggle of Goofy and Daffy and Dopey and Grumpy that they've had. And I think 100,000 sperm and you were the fastest? So we have to have a candidate in the Democratic primary who is going to stand up for America's workaday majority and rally them into a democratic revolution to overthrow the plutocrats, the autocrats and the kleptocrats who think that they can run roughshod over us. And luckily, we have one such candidate. Everybody say Bernie together. Bernie. Bernie. Yeah, and here he comes. My message to you tonight is it's not up to Bernie, it's up to you and me. It's up to us. We've got to do the heavy lifting. Let's get together, and we can do it. We can take power to the people and move America forward, not take America back. The Tea Party did that. We're back 100 years already. We need to go forward with all the people, and this man is going to get it done. Bernie Sanders, our candidate, the people's president of the United States.
There were about 5,000 people who participated in the last Wyoming caucus. It looks like all of them are here tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming out. And let me remind everybody that we've got a really important caucus here on Saturday. Doors open at 9 a.m. Let's be there. Let's win in Wyoming. Now, I don't know if the audience here knows it. I don't see any TVs here, but it has been projected by, I think, all of the networks that we won in Wisconsin. say a word, well, maybe 2 words, I don't know, about what momentum is all about. Momentum is starting this campaign 11 months ago, and the media determining that we were a fringe candidacy. Momentum is starting the campaign 60 to 70 points behind Secretary Clinton. Momentum is that within the last couple of weeks, there have been national polls which have had us 1 point up or 1 point down. Momentum is that when you look at national polls or you look at statewide polls, we are defeating Donald Trump by very significant numbers. And in almost every instance, in national polls and in state polls, our margin over Trump is wider than is Secretary Clinton. With the victory in Wisconsin tonight, and let me take this opportunity to thank the people of Wisconsin for their strong support. With our victory tonight in Wisconsin, we have now won 7 out of 8 of the last caucuses and primaries. And we have won almost all of them with overwhelming landslide numbers. What momentum is about is that at a time in contemporary politics when every major candidate has a super PAC, we have said no to super PACs, said no to the billionaires who fund those super PACs. And what we have done is, in an unprecedented manner in American history, we have up to this point in the campaign received over 6 million individual campaign contributions. Anyone here know what the average contribution is? That's exactly right. Smart crowd. $27. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. We have decided that we do not represent the billionaire class. We do not represent Wall Street or the drug companies or the fossil fuel industry. And we do not want their money. What momentum is about is my belief that if we wake up the American people, and if working people and middle class people and senior citizens and young people begin to stand up, fight back, and come out and vote in large numbers, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. And what we have been seeing throughout this campaign is extraordinary voter turnouts in state after state after state. And I am particularly grateful and pleased that at a time when many of the pundits said, you know, those young people, they don't want to get involved in politics, they're not really concerned about the major issues facing our country, they're too busy with their video games or whatever. Well, you know what's happening? All over this country, young people are standing up and they're saying, you know what? We want to help determine the future of this country, which we are going to inherit. What Momentum is about is that all across this country, the American people are looking around them. And they understand that real change in our country's history, whether it is the trade union movement, whether it is the civil rights movement, whether it is the women's movement, whether it is the gay rights movement, they understand that real change never, ever takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up. And today, from coast to coast, and I have been from coast to coast, been in California, been in Maine, been in a whole lot of states in between. And what people are saying, why is it that in America we have grotesque levels of income and wealth inequality? Why is it that the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%? Why is it that for the last 30 years, the great middle class of this country has been shrinking and almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%? The American people are asking, why is it that women go to work tomorrow and they're earning 79 cents on the dollar compared to men? People are asking, how does it happen that the United States of America, our great nation, is the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave? There are women giving birth in Wyoming and Wisconsin and Vermont today, but they're going to have to go back to work in 2 or 3 weeks because they don't have the income to take care of their family, which is why together we are going to pass 3 months paid family and medical leave. And the American people from coast to coast, they're asking, yes, the Affordable Care Act has done a lot of very good things. Thank you, President Obama, for your leadership. But in terms of health care, there is much, much more that has to be done. And the American people are asking, why does it happen that every other major country on earth, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Holland, Scandinavia, Canada, every major country on earth, guarantees health care to all of their people as a right except the United States, and together we're going to change that international embarrassment. American people are asking, and young people are asking, why is it that when we are living in an increasingly competitive global economy, why is it that kids are graduating college $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt? And in some cases, spending decades having to pay off that debt. We should be rewarding people who get the education they need, not punishing them. And the American people are asking, how does it happen when the scientists all over our country who study climate change and scientists all over the world are in virtual unanimous agreement that climate change is real, that it is caused by human activity, that it is already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world? How do we have a Republican Party that refuses to even acknowledge the reality of climate change? And the American people are asking, how does it happen that we can spend trillions of dollars fighting a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten in the first place? But that in Flint, Michigan, and in cities all over this country, our inner cities are crumbling. Unemployment off the charts. Healthcare system not accessible. Kids dropping out of high school. Too many being arrested and sent to jail. How come we can rebuild the infrastructure of Iraq and Afghanistan, but we cannot rebuild our own crumbling infrastructure? The American people are asking, as they assemble all over this country, why can we not end a campaign finance system which is corrupt and which is undermining American democracy? Democracy is not a complicated process. It means that you have a vote, and you have a vote, and you have a vote, and majority wins. What democracy is not about is billionaires buying elections. And the American people are asking another very important and profound question. And that question is, how does it happen in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth? And what the American people are saying is that now is the time to invest in our young people in terms of jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. And some of you have recently heard about the discovery and the revelations about the tax dodging that is taking place in Panama, which is one of the reasons that I opposed the free trade agreement with Panama. And one of the reasons I was on the floor of the Senate talking exactly about what I feared would happen, and that is wealthy people and large corporations figuring out ways to avoid paying their fair share of taxes. And what the American people are asking is, at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, how does it happen that you have large, profitable, multinational corporations who in a given year pay zero, not a penny, in federal income taxes? Now, change, real change, comes about, whether it is fighting racism, worker exploitation, sexism, homophobia. Real change comes about when people stand up and they look around them and they say, you know what? The status quo is not working. We can do better. And let me give you, I can give you many examples, but let me give you the most contemporary example of what happens when people stand up and fight back. If we were here in this beautiful auditorium 5 years ago, not a long time from an historical perspective, and somebody would have jumped up and say, you know, I think a $7.25 federal minimum wage is a starvation wage, and it has got to be raised to $15 an hour. Now, somebody stood up 5 years ago and said that. The person next to them would have said, you're nuts. $15 an hour? You want to more than double the minimum wage? You're crazy. Maybe we get it up to $8, $9 an hour, but $15 an hour, you're dreaming too big. Sound familiar? You are unrealistic. It can't be done. Think smaller. But then what happened is fast food workers, people working at McDonald's, people working at Burger King, people working at Wendy's, they went out on strike. And I was very proud to join with those workers in Washington. And they went out and they said, fellow Americans, we can't live on $7.25 an hour. We can't live on $8 an hour. You got to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And they fought and they fought. And then suddenly a few years ago, Seattle, Washington, $15 an hour. Los Angeles, San Francisco, $15 an hour. Oregon, $15 an hour. And in the last several weeks, in both California and New York, governors signed legislation for $15 an hour. What is my point? My point is that yes, we can change the status quo when we think big and when we have a vision. Now, I am not naive. I know the power of Wall Street and their endless supplies of money. I know that corporate America will shut down plants in America and move to Mexico or China if they can make another $5 in profit. I know that billionaires are funding candidates whose job it is to represent the wealthy and the powerful. I know about the corporate media that will give us all of the information we need except what is most important for working families. I know about all of that, but this is what I also know. I know that what history is about is that when people stand up and they say the status quo is not acceptable, we will not have children working in factories. We will not have working people on the job who have no power over those jobs. We will not continue to have segregation or racism or bigotry. We will not have women unable to vote or go to the schools they want or do the work they want. We will pass gay marriage in 50 states in this country. So that is what I have learned from history, is that when we are prepared to think big, when we are prepared to take on the greed and recklessness of Wall Street, when we stand together and we don't allow the Trumps of the world to divide us up by whether we were born in America or born abroad, whether we are Muslim or Jewish or Christian, when we stand together, whether we're gay or straight, male or female, yes, we can create a government that represents all of us and not just a handful of wealthy campaign contributors. Now, this campaign has won 7 out of the last 8 caucuses and primaries. With your help on Saturday, we're going to win here in Wyoming. And then we are headed to New York. And I know a little bit about New York because I spent the first 18 years of my life in Brooklyn, New York. Now, please keep this a secret. Do not tell Secretary Clinton. She's getting a little nervous, and I don't want her to get more nervous. But I believe we've got an excellent chance to win New York and a lot of delegates in that state. And then we are going to head, after some other states on the East Coast, out to the West Coast. And we all have an excellent chance to win in Oregon and to win in California. And I think that a lot of these super delegates are going to be looking around them and that are going to be saying, which candidate has the momentum? Which candidate is bringing out huge numbers of people and creating huge which candidate can bring out large numbers of people? See, I can't use the word huge anymore. It's out of my vocabulary. But we will win in November if there is a large voter turnout. That's what always happens. Democrats and progressives win when there is a large voter turnout. Republicans win when people are demoralized. This campaign is giving energy and enthusiasm to millions of Americans. So, I think the people of this country are tired of establishment politics and establishment economics. I think the people of this country are ready for a political revolution. And if you ignore what you hear on corporate media, the facts are pretty clear. We have a path toward victory, a path toward the White House. And Wyoming can give us an enormous boost forward if we win here on Saturday. We often win, and almost always win, when the voter turnout is high. We do poorly when the voter turnout is low. Let us see on Saturday a record-breaking turnout here in the Wyoming caucus. And let us have Wyoming Democrats making it clear that this great state is part of the political revolution. Thank you all very much.
All right, and if you